Hello, everyone. This is the Tuesday episode of Daily Betslip. It is myself, it is Reed Wallach, and we will be talking about sports betting for the next 30 minutes, including our best bets for the night. If you want college basketball picks, you come to the right place because we have 3 each for college basketball tonight. We also got picks.
Did you change? Did you change from the other pick?
Yeah.
Okay, so we still have 6, even though one is like a super, collab bet like
yes.
move.
One is a collab bet, but I'm not going to leave. The people a pick short. So I did come up with another one that I have locked in, which is a wild total. But we're going to get into that in a little bit. Also got community picks. My cat is meowing at me. She's ready for the show. We're going to talk about early week 16 picks in the NFL. And there she is. She's going to jump up and bug me again. And then we're going to finish off with game of the night, a little NBA. We're not going to completely ignore NBA today. Grizzlies and Nugguets, game of the night. So we'll talk about that and give our best bet for that game. But as always, we will start off with community picks from the people. Why don't we jump right into that right away? Chips Picks Daily. Chips bragging about his record yesterday. I believe he was on the Capitals 3-way money line. And what happens on the show when you brag about your record? You lose. And it lost. I was right there with him. I think he was Capitals 3-way money line yesterday. Chips, if you're watching, correct me if I'm wrong. But today he's on the Philadelphia Flyers, the 3-way money line. He says, over the last 10 games, Flyers ranked 21st in Corsi percentage and expected goals. In that span, Columbus ranks 30th in each. Columbus without key players Jenner, Chinakov, and Sillinger. Goaltender advantage, Hart versus Tarasov. Is it Tarasov playing tonight? Because if it is, Tarasov has done a lot better than their other goalies. So I'm going to see if wasn't made official last time I checked. Yes, Tarasov starting again tonight. Tarasov, young guy, having actually a pretty solid year, but bold pick. I mean, this is a toilet bowl. This is a game between two teams, and now you're limiting yourself by Flyers needing to win in regulation. I mean, I'm not gonna bet against you. I'm not gonna fade you. I'm not rushing to the betting window to take the Blue Jackets, but winning games in the NHL is hard enough, especially when you're a bad team like the Flyers. Now you're taking them 3-way money line. I don't love it, Chips. I don't love it.
Did Chips get the win last night, or?
No, he was on, I believe it was him that was on Capitals 3-way money line, and they went to overtime against, I don't know. I was on Capitals puck line, so I lost as well. They outshot, whoever it was, I forget who it was, they outshot them by like 20, but went into overtime. I don't know why I'm blanking on who they played. I don't love this pick, Chips, but I don't hate it either. I'm not going to bet the opposite side. I'm not going to tail you, though, unfortunately. But good luck to you. I do not have a play in that game. If you want my NHL plays, I tweeted out my article with my 3 best NHL bets, so check out my Twitter timeline for that, because no NHL plays on the show for me today. Let's keep it moving with the next community pick. H_Strott_6. Hate to go against our guys, but Harvard +10. That's right. He's referring to our guys as the UC Irvine Anteaters. Zot. They are taking on an Ivy League team here, Harvard, tonight. To be honest, if I was going to bet on the game, I'd probably go Harvard as well. A lot of really close numbers between these two teams. UC Irvine's obviously played a little bit stiffer competition, but still a 10-point spread. Now, I love my Anteaters too much to bet against them, so it's just a stay-away game for me. But yeah, UC Irvine's been a little bit disappointing in recent weeks. They blew a big lead in their last game when I had money on them against I forget who it was.
Was it Santa Clara? Because I had money on Santa Clara that game.
Yes, you had Santa Clara?
Yeah.
How dare you?
How
dare you?
Dude, they're due for some shooting regression. That's how it works. Right. They're due to come back to earth. But when they get into conference play, I definitely think that they are a contender. But yeah, 10 points is a lot to lay here with the Anteaters. So I kind of lean towards Harvard as well.
Chips Picks must be watching, but he did tweet at me, but he must be watching. He did push on the over last night between the Canucks and the Blues. So he says he is 9-1-1 community picks. That is fair. So yeah, it wasn't him. I apologize, Chips. It wasn't you on Capitals 3-way. That was someone else that was on there yesterday. So I did want to clear that up. He did tweet at me. He must be watching live. So I do apologize. You did push last night. So according to you, Chips, you're 9-1-1 in community picks. Unverified record. I have not gone back and checked, but I did want to clear it up. He was not on the Capitals last night. That was someone else. All right, let's keep it moving. Or do you have any other thoughts about that Harvard game?
No, I saw that this one though, and I do have an opinion on this game, so I will not say anything and save it for our best bets.
Yeah, so go ahead and bring that up. Queens NC. Is that North Carolina?
Yep.
Plus 13.5. Yeah, you said you have thoughts about that game, so we'll wait until best bets for that. Not a game that I looked at today. Didn't have time to look at that game. Are they a new Division I team? I don't feel like I remember seeing Queens.
Yeah, D2 team last year, now in the D1 ranks, and they've looked really strong as well. I'm for like deep college football heads, there's like I do like a season-long thing where we, salaries and all that stuff, and Queens is one of our 5-pointers. A buddy I do it with, he watched the first game of the college basketball season, Marshall Queens, and said, "We gotta take Queens. I'm telling you, there's something special about this team." I was like, okay, it's like a lottery ticket anyway. So I was like, sure, we'll take it. And Queens is looking real solid, like a legitimate, they're in the ASUN conference, a legitimate, not contender, but they could play. They can't make the tournament this year though. They're ineligible to make it. So
isn't that a stupid rule?
Stupidest rule ever.
Didn't that happen to a team last year or the year before?
Yeah, Bellarmine. I believe in the same conference as well. They won and wasn't able to.
Who did you say it was?
Bellarmine.
Yes, that's who it was. Shout out to Queen's University in Canada, the Queen's Gales. That's now now that I see Queens, that's what I think of is the big university in Canada. Good for engineering, I believe. You want an engineering degree. All right, let's keep it moving. I don't have thoughts on the game, so we'll wait for best bets, and Reed will dive into his pick for that game. Providence money line. This comes in from Frankie V at the Kid Made This. Providence against Marquette. I do have a game bet for this game. It is on the total though, so I'm going to stick with that. If I were to go on a side, I probably would go with Providence, but a lot of numbers very close in that matchup. Going to be an intriguing one. Two very different styles of play. Oh, yeah. Marquette shoots a 3 a lot. Providence keeps it down low. Reed, do you have any thoughts for that one?
Yeah, I was kind of leaning towards Marquette at first, but Providence at home, different animal. Just not something I'm interested in running to bet. Kind of stayed away. I don't know. Providence at home, was last year just like an anomaly? Did it not happen? Is this like coming back to earth?
Right.
But I don't know. It's a tough one. I think it's a true coin flip, and that's what the line says. So, I can't hate with going with the home team in conference play.
Yep, I like it. All right, next one. This is our game of the night, Grizzlies Nuggets. Hot takes with TP3 at TP3 Bets is on the over. And that one, 234.5 between the Grizz and the Nugs. We'll save our thoughts for that game for the end of the show because that is game of the night. And that does it for community picks. Thank you all so much for sending them in. Best of luck with all your community picks for tonight. Let's move into our best bets for tonight. 6 college basketball plays. One of them is a collab play. One is one that both myself and Reed were on. We had it written in our pre-show document here. I didn't want us to both give out the same play, though, so I pivoted to something else for my final play. But let's dig into it here. Reed, why don't you start us off with a collab play?
Yeah, all right, we'll do collab play first. First up, Florida laying 3 against Oklahoma. So I watched the Oklahoma team a few weeks ago against Arkansas. They were like a similar spread, again, against an SEC opponent. I didn't come away that impressed. And then, looking at this matchup, I just think it's a really bad spot for Oklahoma. Just some numbers throughout you. They're number 2 in effective field goal percentage. So they are being seen as one of the most efficient offense in the country. But then when you dig under the hood a little bit, you see that this probably isn't going to hold up because Grant Sherfield, their transfer guard who does a little bit of everything, shooting 55% from 3 on more than 5 attempts per game. Just feels like that's ripe for regression. Florida was a team I was high on going into the season. Still kind of looking for like that real signature win. They got blown out by UConn, lost to Xavier. They could use a big non-conference win like Oklahoma. So I like Castleton in the middle. I like their guard play. I think you're going to see Florida show up here. And I think they get this done. -3. I like it. I think they win this one by more than 2 possessions.
Yeah, I'm a big Castleton fan personally. But yeah, this is
in the middle too. He's huge. He's 7'1".
He's massive.
Yeah.
He's massive. Yeah, this is the play that we both liked here. Oklahoma's a very good shooting team. They're actually second in effective field goal percentage, but they got some issues in some other areas. The stat I've talked about a little bit this year on the show is extra scoring chances per game. It basically takes into consideration things like offensive rebounding, turning the ball over, forcing turnovers, things like that. Oklahoma's 307th in extra scoring chances per game, -3.7. Not good. You can't rely on only shooting to beat another Power 5 team like Florida. You got to be good in the other areas, and Oklahoma is really just good at shooting and not really good at anything else. So, yeah, I like Florida. We're both on that one. Collab pick. What could go wrong? All right, my first college basketball bet for tonight, I'm going to go to the game. That's someone was on there in the community picks when they said Providence money line. I said I was on the total. I'm going to go over 149 in this one. I think this is an absolute shootout. If we just start with the basics here, the average combined points scored per game for these two teams is 160.6. So that's already well over the set total. They're 17th and 76th in effective field goal percentage. And both teams struggle to stop what the other team does well offensively. We know Marquette's a three-point shooting team. Providence is 239th in opponent three-point field goal percentage, and Providence keeps the ball down low. Marquette's 138th in opponent two-point field goal percentage. So we got offensive strengths going up against defensive weaknesses. And one of my favorite stats to look at for totals is floor percentage. It is a percentage of a team's possessions that result in at least 1 point being scored. Obviously, that's important if you need a lot of points scored in the game. Providence 5th in the country in floor percentage, and Marquette not too far behind them, coming in at 33rd. So I think we're going to see an absolute shootout tonight. I'll take Marquette Providence over 149.
All right. I like it.
All right. Let's see your next one.
All right. We were talking about Queens against Nebraska. I love Queens. I said, I kind of hinted at it, I guess, with my play, but Queens, this is one of my teams. I think that you see, especially the spot for Nebraska, it's going to be a real issue for them. The Cornhuskers, they played on Saturday. They lost to Kansas State, neutral floor, lost by double digits. They get 8 days off after this now before they start Big Ten play for good. Like, this isn't the end of conference play against Iowa. How are they getting up for this game? Meanwhile, you look at Queens. I mean, 9-2 on the season. They've played, not like the toughest schedule, but they've gone up for their games. I was talking about earlier, Marshall, their opening game, they're outside, the top 50, top 75, but that's a really tough game. And they, their first game D2, they win. So I like Queens. They play really fast, a lot of ball pressure, and they crash the glass, top 20 in offensive rebounding percentage. I think Nebraska's going to be ready for this physicality at over double digits. I love Queens here. I think that this is like a sneaky upset spot, or like game where you're flipping through the scores and you see, wow, Nebraska's down 6 with 3 minutes left. How did that happen? So I think Queens very live here in a real sleepy spot for the Cornhuskers.
There you go. The Queens Royals.
Yeah.
Looking on Nebraska. I like it plus 13. So you agree with, I forget who it was that sent it in, but one of the community picks, they were on Queens there as well in that game. So 2 collab picks for you so far on the show. How about that?
Yeah.
All right.
It's family. You want everyone to be together. This is what we're doing here.
That's right. It's not about wins and losses, it's about the friends you made along the way. I'm going with a huge underdog here, and I might regret this because this is an ugly bet. But I'm going to go Alcorn State plus 20.5 against Dayton. Alcorn State generally sucks, to be honest. They're one of the worst shooting teams in the country. I think there are some areas, though, at least some things that make me worry about Dayton, that I don't think they're going to be able to run away with this. Because if you look at something like turnovers per possession, Dayton's 316th in the country, turning the ball over on 21.3% of their possessions. And Alcorn State, that's kind of the thing that they do the best, is force turnovers, 66th in opponent turnovers per possession, forcing turnovers on 20.8% of opponent possessions. And Dayton, even in general, not a great shooting team, 195th in effective field goal percentage. So there are some red flags about this Dayton team. They should obviously certainly be favored. They'll obviously win pretty handedly, but 20.5. I think it's hard to cover these biggest spreads if you're going to turn over the ball at a high rate. So I'll take Alcorn State. It's ugly, though, because they suck, but I'll take Alcorn State plus 20.5.
Yeah, we've seen these SWAC teams hang around with the higher class of the college basketball this year. Grambling's had a few upsets this year, competitive games, so maybe they could hang around. 20.5 is a lot. Dayton plays slow, so I don't hate it. I got one more. I got a total.
All right.
Is your last one a total too? No, you just did the total, but
no, I have another total on my last one. I got 2 totals. So
all right, I'm going over in Q's Pitt, over 138. I think you could get a better number out there now, but Syracuse, the zone defense is antiquated. It doesn't work anymore. It's this defense is terrible, and I really like it against this Pitt team because Pitt's starting guard now is Cole. This is deep right here, but Colgate transfer Nelly Cummings. If you look back to last year, Colgate gashed Syracuse to over 100 points. The total finished with 180. Is that the whole handicap? No. But I'm just saying that Nelly Cummings has some familiarity against this Q zone that sometimes confuses teams. Pitt's playing a lot better on offense this year. And on the defense side, I think there's some looming regression for Pitt. You know, they're keeping teams below 70 a lot, below 65. I think you're going to see Syracuse find some answers, though. Really good free throw shooting team, flirting with 75% as a team. Pitt's free throw defense, there is no defense. It's just teams are missing a bunch of free throws against them. 16th best free throw defense in the entire country, allowing 63%. Obviously, it's not actually allowing. That's just their opponent shoot 63% against them. I think it's a little fluky. I think that's depressing some of their totals. 138. I think you can see each team get into the 70s here. I think it's going to be a competitive game in the Carrier Dome. And yeah, give me Syracuse Pitt over 138. You can now get that at like 138, 137.5.
There you go. I like it. That's I love that handicap. I might tail that play. I will shout out someone who did send in a pick today on this game. It wasn't one of the ones that we talked about earlier, but Rolsey at Rolsey1 is on Pitt +4 in that game. So
interesting. Okay.
Did want to shout them out since we were talking about that game. Anyways, all right, my final pick. It is an under bet, and it might be the lowest total I've ever seen in the college basketball game. It's one of them, but I'm going to take the under anyways. It is Fresno State, Cal Bakersfield under 117.5. How about that?
Legitimately crawling up the court.
Yes. But that's what these two teams do. These two teams are actually pretty similar. They're basically the exact same team statistically. Let's just start right there with possessions. 340th, 346th in possessions per game, 289th, 327th in field goal attempts per game. They play at such a slow pace. There's no way I'm watching this game. This game is going to be one of the worst college basketball games of all time to watch. They're both better defensively. They rank inside the top 15 defensive efficiency, but they're 252nd and 350th in effective field goal percentage. And their average combined total points per game for Fresno State is 125.2. And the average combined total points per game for Cal Bakersfield's games is 120.2. So now they are both finally meeting their match. They're like playing the mirror image, or like they're twins basically. So I think it's going to be like a 110-point game. It's going to be like 53-49.
Okay.
Which would I guess be 102 points. So lowest under I think I've ever taken in my life, but give me the under 117.5.
Hopefully the clock's running. Just even at the free throw line, just keep the clock running.
Yeah, perfect.
I love it though. That's gross.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's disgusting. I love it. Good handicap, though. I respect it. It's good handicap.
Between that and Alcorn State, it's an ugly betting board for me in college basketball tonight.
Listen, gifts are found in unlikely places sometimes.
Yes, 100%. All right, let's move on here. Let's move on to the NFL this week. NFL week. Let's bring up the recap graphic. I have a bad habit of forgetting to bring this up. In case you're just joining us, you want college basketball plays? We got 6 of them here for you. I'm on an over 149 between Marquette and Providence. Alcorn State plus 20.5 against Dayton. Under 117.5 between Fresno State and Cal Bakersfield. Reed on Florida -3 against Oklahoma. That's a collab bet. Me and you are both on that.
Star that.
Queens plus 13 against Nebraska. Queens NC, North Carolina, Charlotte specifically. And then over 138 between Syracuse and Pitt. All right, enough college basketball. Let's move on to the NFL. Let's talk NFL Week 16. 3 weeks left of the regular season. How time flies. It is Tuesday. Monday Night Football wrapped up last night. Week 15 wrapped up last night. So let's talk about early picks for Week 16. Reed, why don't you start us off? I'll give my thoughts on this one because I have thoughts about the game that you're hunting here. So what's your early lean for Week 16?
Yeah, I kind of want to start, I just think this is a really tough week. Line-wise, obviously, the later in the season, the lines get sharper, the lines get tougher. But also the weather is going to play a serious role this week. I mean, all the totals depressing. We got Browns Saints at 32. Just rattling off another Carolina, Detroit 43. Houston, Tennessee 37. Atlanta, Baltimore 37. I mean, you have totals regularly in the 30s here with these Arctic blasts coming through the country this week. So to me, it was a tougher week to handicap. One game I am looking at, though, San Francisco against Washington. I just think if you look at the body of work of the Commanders since week 6, since the beginning of October, They have that one win against the Eagles on Monday night, which I think if we could kind of take away the result and actually apply some, our eyes to it, they won. They played hard. It was also a little fluky. They had that face mask call. The Commander fans can complain now about what happened last week against the Giants, but they had some fortuitous bounces go their way, and it happens. But besides that, they haven't been a team over 500 since Tennessee in October 6th, I think it was. So it's now December 20th, and we're still waiting for that. Meanwhile, this Niners team, on a short week for every other team in the league, the Niners have a real rest week. They played last Thursday. This game will be on Saturday. The Commanders played Sunday night. They're playing Saturday, going across the country. I just think this is a terrible spot for Washington. 49ers defense, I think, is going to control this game. Best in EPA per play of the season. I just think this is a slam spot for the Niners. I think they win this one going away, double digits, in my opinion. So do you agree with me or you disagree with me?
I'm on the opposite side, to be honest. I got Washington in that spot. I did get them with the hook, though. I got them at plus 7.5. I think it's moved down to 7 pretty much everywhere, though.
Okay.
But I think as much as I love Brock Purdy, and I've bet on him in each of his last 2 starts, I think we might see a little bit of regression. I don't think a young guy can play this well this many consecutive weeks in a row, especially because the Washington defense is pretty good. They're not elite. They're not a great defense, but they're 4th and 3rd down, opponent third down conversion rate. 10th in opponent yards per play. Their defense is all right. I think if we see any kind of regression from Brock Purdy, I think Washington can keep this within a touchdown. So certainly not a play that I love, but yeah, we are on opposite sides there.
Do you think Washington is live at all to beat San Francisco on the road? Or do you think that this Washington team, like that loss to New York, kind of that's it for them? This is the beginning of the end.
No, I think they could beat the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers lost to the Falcons this year. People forget. So, yeah. And 49ers statistically actually have been, even though the record is better at home, statistically they've kind of struggled at home. And they've been very good on the road, at least when you look at things like net yards per play. So, yeah, I'm not confident. I don't think it's worth betting, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked.
This is more of a play on the 49ers defense versus the Washington offense than it is on Brock Purdy. Because I'm not sold on Brock Purdy. I'm not sold on this Niners team in the postseason still. But just this spot, there's just a lot of things pointing me towards Niners smash. But again, that's different than the playoffs. So I just don't think Washington's all that good, to be honest with you. I think this Taylor Heineke thing, there's some, underlying regression coming for this Washington team who really hasn't been anyone, during this run with Heineke at quarterback.
Yeah, that's fair. Hard to disagree.
What do you got?
Stevie Pan 1, I want to just bring this up here, just in the chat. iMac, my college basketball knowledge is very minimal. That said, what do you guys think of Gonzaga covering? Gonzaga only 2-6 against the spread in the last 8. Montana 4-1 against the spread last 5 against Gonzaga. They look good against Alabama.
Yeah, they did. That was like a reminder game that they could still play.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I didn't even look at this game, so I actually don't have too much insight, unfortunately, Stevie Pan. But Gonzaga, I bet on a few of their games early in the season, and now I think I've decided just to stay away from their games because they've been such Jekyll and Hyde at times this season. They look great sometimes, like against Alabama. Other times they look absolutely terrible. So I haven't figured out what to do with Gonzaga as of yet.
All right, they're laying 23.5.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking at the numbers, Montana's interior defense is pretty brutal. 275th in 2-point defense. They foul a ton, and they don't really turn you over. And that's been the issue for Gonzaga. They really are still looking for like a true ball handler, Stevie. So, I'm not rushing to bet this one. Could be a little bit of a letdown spot, but Montana might be up against it here. Yeah, I wouldn't run to bet this one. They've lost to Xavier by 22. Yeah, this is a stay away. Probably Gonzaga or pass. Just looking at this, first glance.
Yeah, I'm quickly looking at some numbers too. I agree. If I were to bet this, I'd probably go Gonzaga, but staying away from me. He also says first glance, I like San Fran without that hook though. Yeah,
that's fair. Obviously, 7 and 7.5 are two. They're two totally different things.
Yeah, because I think it is down to. I don't have the line in front of me, but I think it is down to 7, just about everywhere. I got 7.5 yesterday.
Yeah, it's painted 7 across the board. So
half a point. Look at me.
Good job by you.
All right, my early pick, and I actually speaking of CLV, I actually got a bad line on this. It is the Dolphins against the Packers here. I go to the 5.5. It's down to 4.5. So you can even get a better number right now. But I think this is a big buy low spot on the Dolphins. I know they've lost 3 straight. But that has been against some very tough teams. 49ers and Bills might be the 2 best teams in the NFL, and then the Chargers, who are surging and are certainly trending in the right direction. And even though they're 0-3 in that stretch, they're 3rd in net yards per play over each team's last 3 games. So statistically, they're still playing very well. Everyone was saying, oh, Tua can't play in the cold. They're going to get destroyed by the Bills up in Buffalo. And then what happened? Well, they didn't win, but they covered the spread at least.
Yeah, competitive team.
I think this Dolphins team is... And I think right now, for value-wise, I think they're the best bet to win the Super Bowl. Do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl? No, but I don't think they're getting the credit they deserve. I think they are just a notch below the elite tier of teams. I think you have the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles, maybe the 49ers, and then one notch below, it's the Miami Dolphins. So I like them quite a bit, especially against a Packers team they beat up on the Rams last night, but the Rams suck. The Rams might be the worst team in the NFL right now next to the Texans. So I don't put too much value into that Packers win last night. They still stink. I love the Dolphins to cover, especially at the current number 4.5. Unfortunately, I got to that 5.5. So,
yeah, I don't know what to do with this one because my initial thought was with you on the Dolphins. I don't know. Again, though, this is like a weird week with Christmas and stuff, and you got the Packers on Monday. They're playing on Sunday, so kind of a typical short rest week. But the Dolphins played on Saturday, so they have 2 extra days of rest, get back home. Can Tua really figure it out? Because I don't know. There's some you're going to start to hear about this Packers narrative that they are now live to make the playoffs and on a collision course to play the Lions in Week 18, win and in scenario. So I think that's kind of driving this down because you're seeing more support come in on the Packers. Maybe they're back all of a sudden. I mean, they're 6-8, but people are like, oh, they're back. I wasn't that impressed with Green Bay last night. Thought it was kind of a lackluster effort. I said this last week to Donovan, I'm a little concerned about Miami's offense being figured out. Can McDaniel figure it out? I think I'm with you, though. I'll probably end up with some sort of ticket on the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think the Packers are like a mini Buccaneers where people are like, yeah, they got Aaron Rodgers. They're going to turn things around. They're not a team you're going to want to face in the playoffs. No, they suck. Just like the Bucs suck. They both suck. They're both dead. So, yeah, I'll take the Dolphins.
It's tough. Like, that's the thing with quarterback, especially like the all-time greats, though. Like the special ones, you're like, it's can't go against Rodgers, though. Like here, you can't kill them. Like there they are. Like they're still hanging around because you know what's good. And I was kind of a believer in this Tampa Bay they could figure it out thing. Green Bay, I'm not even in the zip code with this one, but like you could see the narrative where it's like, oh God, if Green Bay gets in. Like no one wants to see Green Bay at wild card weekend. Like you could see it now.
Of course. All right, so that's our early takes for NFL Week 16. Yeah, majority games on Saturday this week. A little Christmas Eve action, and then a few on Sunday. A lot of football action coming up.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Let's switch to the NBA for game of the night. Here it is: the Memphis Grizzlies against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. What is the spread?
Currently, we got Nuggets now. It's been bouncing back and forth between one, but currently Nuggets a 1-point favorite, maybe even pick them depending where you look against the Grizzlies. So, call it -1 Nuggets. Total 236.5. Whew.
Seems like a high total, doesn't it?
Incredibly.
All right. So what's your pick?
I'm going to go with the Grizz +1 against the Nuggets. The real issue for Denver, and first of all, let's just set the stage here. These are the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. Yes. So this is a big deal. This is a marquee matchup. I'm a little nervous about the Nuggets, though, long term. I bet on them before the season, preseason to win the West. I'm not sure how I feel about that one. Their defense is terrible. They have the 3rd worst defensive rating in the league. It helps when you have the 2-time MVP, maybe even 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic. He had, I think it was 43, 27, and 10 the other night against the Hornets. This is a step up against the Grizzlies, but I'm a little concerned about the Nuggets. Jamal Murray doesn't look the same. Michael Porter Jr. keeps going in and out of the lineup. I like the moves they made on the bench to get guys like Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but this Grizzlies team is really on the upswing here, and I think that you're getting them at a pretty good discount. I think that you're saying, are the Nuggets that much better than? I think the Grizzlies are better than the Nuggets, just flat out, and it's mainly because of Jaren Jackson Jr.'s return. He missed the start of the season due to a foot injury. They are plus 10.6 with him on the floor. Defensively, he's been locked down. He's already thrusted himself into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Obviously, John Morant, the Grizzlies right now are kind of humming. Even without Desmond Bane, they just have the depth, I think, to go out and win this one against the Nuggets. So I'll take the Grizzlies +1, pick them, Grizzlies to win the game.
All right. I like it. I mean, I don't have too much to add to the NBA. Whenever I bet lately, I've been just targeting player props, and it has largely worked out for me. So that's what I'm going to do again tonight. And this one's a little bit of a bold call here. Nikola Jokic, I'm going to go under 10.5 rebounds, which sounds like, and it is a bold call because he's coming off a performance where he got 27 boards.
Read that stat line out if you have it. This was Sunday.
What's that?
Well, do you have the full stat line in front of you?
No, I don't. I can bring it up.
Okay, because he's like the only one I think to have 40, 20, and 10 since like Wilt Chamberlain, which is like funny in itself because every record has like Wilt Chamberlain did this like 55 times.
Yeah, well, I was gonna what's the record for rebounds in a game? I mean, I'm guessing.
I think Wilt Chamberlain's had like 50 in a game. While you're doing your handicap, I'll pull it up for you.
I got it. What the record? Well, the record or his stat line? His stat line I have right here. So yeah, he went shot 50% from the field. 40 points, 27 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals.
That's absurd.
No blocks.
Wilt Chamberlain grabbed 55.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, since...
He didn't even get halfway.
All these used to happen, like, way back. First of all, they're all Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell, which is hilarious because, like, that's all the records. But since 1973, which seems to be some sort of modern-day change... Moses Malone got 37. Charles Oakley got 35. Kareem got 34 once. Rodman 34. So like he's knocking on the door of history with 27. But I mean, still a bunch of guys have gotten to 30 before.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do the idiotic thing and now fade him in rebounding because I do think I'm not positive about this, but I feel like that performance is now overvaluing him from a rebound player prop perspective, maybe a little bit. I mean, he is averaging 10.9 rebounds per game this season, which is right where the set total is tonight. But the reason why I'm going against him is that the Grizzlies are the best rebounding team in the NBA. They are first in rebounding percentage. They grab 53.1% of boards. Stevie Pan chimes in. Memphis is first in offensive rebounds, if that helps. Yeah, they're just first in rebounding total. So that is why I'm going against them. I think it's a good time to kind of underreact to that 27 rebound performance, especially going up now that he's going up against the best rebounding team in the NBA. I will say it does concern me a little bit how high the total is because that means I'm guessing these teams play at a little bit of a fast pace, more shots, more chances for rebounds. But regardless, this is that plus money. It's a little plus money prop for the people. I'll fade him. I'll go Jokic under 10.5 rebounds.
Yeah, I agree with you on the overvalued now because of the big outing, but it's not something I could like get behind though. These guys, there's so many possessions, high total, more rebound opportunities, but Godspeed to you.
I might have big brained this bet, to be honest.
I agree with the logic that he's overvalued to go over his rebounding prop because he just got 27 and the market does tend to overreact to such a thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Those are our bets for tonight. 6 in college basketball, 2 in the NBA, and the community poll, really quick, they were on last night was Monday Night Football. They were on the Rams last night, I believe. So poll 0-1 to start the week, and bad news for you, Reed, they're on the Grizzlies.
All right, they're due. They're due to get back on track. All
right, fair enough. So community Grizzlies +1, your Grizzlies +1. I'm Jokic under 10.5 rebounds. And then we got those 6 college basketball plays from earlier in the show. Reed, do you have any college football bowl game stuff floating around there? Because that is one thing going on we did not touch on. On the show.
I am going to lose this under in the early bowl game. Kind of talked myself out of taking the live dog, as you hear my dog barking, taking Eastern Michigan, who's up 17, took the under instead, and that's not going great for me. But I do have a play on the bowl game tonight. Boca Raton, another dog. Liberty plus, what is it now? 3.5. I still like it. I like it at over a field goal. I like Liberty to win this one outright. Flames, I think recent performance losing to New Mexico State, kind of undervaluing them. Toledo terrible as a favorite. Jason Candle, I think off the top of my head, is like 1-4 against the spread. as a head coach in bowl games. So I like Liberty tonight in the Boca Raton Bowl.
And did you have content with your picks? Is it just the early read from last week?
Yeah. Early read from last week with Chris the Bear Felica from College Game Day. That's still kind of relevant. There's bowl picks for all this week, all next week, college football playoff. It's got everything you want there. So make sure you go check that out. And there's going to be YouTube shorts also on the BetSide YouTube page of an against the spread pick for every single bowl game through January 2nd. So make sure you're checking that out. That'll be like kind of put out periodically over the next week or two.
There you go. What a time of year. Holidays,
Best
sports,
time of year.
Gambling, New Year's. What a time to be alive. Alrighty then, that is our show for today. Be sure to give us a like. Give this video a like right now. And then subscribe to the channel right afterwards. Thank you all so much for watching. Gambler bless. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Same time, same people.
Woo!
Reed and I are going back-to-back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern. So tune in. We'll talk to you then.